You know, petrol prices are at an all-time high, so are diesel rates. Petrol is at 83.97, 84, it has now become 84.2. Let's now quickly tell you why this surge is happening. That on your screen right now. So, rates of auto fuels vary from state to state. Now, there is a very key feature called VAT, local taxes, the T word, taxes basically, and I'm going to explain this in greater detail a little later. What else causes the price to surge? Well, probability of tighter supplies from Saudi Arabia unilaterally agreeing to reduce output. So that could be one of the reasons why this is happening. However, the crude oil rate is not that high. Number 3, daily dynamic pricing is something now the government no more controls. There is a dynamic pricing, so it keeps going up and down, largely up and very rarely down. International oil prices stage a bounce back in line with the progress on COVID vaccines. So that could be one reason. And fuel prices are dependent on global crude prices and the rupee US dollar exchange rate. That plays a major role. But what exactly can your government do? And that is going to come up on the screen right now. When you divide, see the amount, if you look at the amount of 84.20 per litre, then you have to ask yourself, what is what? Let's go full frame to this graphic. The actual cost or the base price is only 27 rupees a litre. Only 27 rupees is the cost of fuel. The central excise is around 33 on petrol and 32 on diesel. Then you've got state VATs, which is also equally high in terms of percentage. And then there is a dealer commission. So if I were to explain this to you in percentage terms, of the 84.2 rupees per litre, the actual base price is only 32% cost. Do you know how much tax we are paying? And this at a time when the central government says that finally they've got a record high GST rate. The tax on petrol is a whopping 68%. Imagine, you pay far more than 50% of tax, whereas the product actually is only 32% of the price that you are paying. Let me put this to a discussion now very quickly. I've got Ajoy Kumar, spokesperson of the Congress Party, and PKD Nambiar, political analyst, supports the BJP. We feel that this is an important discussion, particularly at a time when you've got COVID-19. Fuel price is something which is going to directly impact everything. So, Mr. PKD Nambiar, I hope you realize that this is not an ideal situation. But what exactly can one expect of the government given this challenge?
Sanket, it's a wonderful question. That this is not at all a good news for a common man like you and me, or even for the government. The situation is that on the one side there are price rises. It's keep happening, and the common man like you and me are suffering. There is no doubt about it. There is no denial. On the second part, even on the government side, they also have an equal challenge. One, we have been going through a major crisis. Of course, it has resulted a lot of financial burden on the government, and the government, both whether it is the center or the state, require money to run the government, to pay the salaries, to go for all the development. So where is this money is going to come? So we definitely have a fuel economy in our country, which is actually driving a lot of developmental projects in this country. So one of the good question can be, Sanket, is that how long a country like India can be dependent on a fuel economy? So that can be a good question. But then I think it requires to have a much more larger debate and a lot of economic.
Mr. Nambiar, while I understand and also it's very smart of you, by the way, to talk about this. And of course, that has to be a long-term plan. But as of this moment, we are dependent on fuel, right? And a lot of things are dependent on the price of petrol. The BJP's own statements when it was in the opposition vis-a-vis price hike on fuel is well known, right? So while we do want a long-term change, Mr. Ajoy Kumar, what exactly can be done? No, one moment. Let me come back to you. What exactly can be done as far as taxation is concerned? We know that the last time something like this happened, the then Finance Minister, Arun Jaitley, in Modi 1, announced a cut They offered that relief. Do you think the time has come to do the same even now?
Is the question to me, Sanket?
No, this is for
Sanket,
Mr. Ajay Kumar.
Sanket, is it for me?
Yes, Mr. Kumar, it's for you.
Yeah, okay. So, Sanket, first of all, obviously, you correctly said that you're paying more than close to 60% on tax. And Mr. Nambiar is saying that the issue is because the government is running short of money and the economy and all the states are also running out of money. But a couple of questions which the government has to know, that the deficit in the government finances is primarily because of few reasons. One is extensive benefit to the corporates, which I remember the numbers, if I'm right, is 1,40,000 crores in terms of tax reduction, which we don't see any benefits coming in. The second one was the disinvestment target of 2 lakh crores. So you're already short of 3.5 lakh crores. And so it's purely in the government side of the court saying terrible management of the economy. Forget demonetization and the economy going on a tangent. I'm just speaking about this year. 2 lakh crore was the deficit, disinvestment target. 1.4 lakh crore was the benefit given to corporates. In the past 6 years, they have collected 19 lakh crores. That means let's average it out, maybe 3 lakh crores every year. Some years they may have got 2 or 4, some years they may have got 2. But my question is, in the past 6 years, they have collected 19 lakh crores from tax on petroleum products and fuel and oil and fuel, and forget gas cylinders and everything else.
Like all governments, Mr. Kumar.
No, not like all governments. You remember it was 9 rupees during the Manmohan Singh period when it was 100 rupees a barrel, $100 a barrel. So the question again is, my question is, it is one of the worst management of the finance of the country and the economy, because even our neighbors, who we, and rightfully so, but who we don't have much of respect in terms of their management.
Bangladesh in this debate. I'm so sorry. I mean,
say that again. I can't hear you, sir.
No, if you could stick to what is happening in this country, he's saying that don't bring in Pakistan. But my point is, Mr. Ajay Kumar is only using a comparison. Okay, I think the point has been made.
Respect for financial management are selling it at lower price.
The point is on financial management. Mr. P.K. Nambiar, very quickly, it's a short discussion. Very short discussion. My question once again, do you think that right now, given the manner in which this price is increasing, the time has come to offer some central or state government relief in the taxation, because 68% is mind-boggling. I mean, surely you can't think of recovering your entire economy just on the basis of this taxation.
So as I always say that it's whether you support an ex-government or you support a government or not supporting a government, that the truth is that it is really hitting everybody. But then we also need to understand there are few challenges that any government would be facing. That is or more than 7.7%, if I may know the correct figure, the Saudi or the OPEC countries have reduced the supply, the production overall output, which has resulted. Then there is, of course,
no, Mr. Nambiar, see, all of that we know. Mr. Nambiar, at the very beginning of this broadcast, we mentioned all of those things. We know. Our expectation is of the government, of what the government has already done in its first tenure. Can we expect something similar now? Because the crisis is equally big, if not more.
Sanket, what I was just referring in the beginning, that it is not only the crisis is not only for the people. Even the prices, when the people, generally there is a perception if the government is taking 60% more taxes, but equally the government is also losing money on a conversion rate. Our foreign exchange reserves are going outside when we import so much of the crude in a higher price. So I believe that both government, state and central governments needs to work together to reduce this burden onto the people. There is no doubt about it.
Okay, you're not giving me a reply. Of course, it's not your mandate also.
Our economy with anybody else.
The point is that while we do talk about the long term, there is a rationale behind expecting relief in the short term, and that was my only limited question. Very quickly, Ajay Kumar, last comment.
No, my question is the same petrol, when the the oil products were costing, they were $84 per barrel. This was the price which the government was charging. Today it is $50. So this whole argument that the oil prices going up is specious. Because the same government.
I think Dr.
The same, no, one second, Nambiar sir, I didn't interrupt you, sir, because that's
Okay, gentlemen, running out of time. We're going to discuss this in greater detail tomorrow, because I'm pretty sure that these prices are not going to dramatically come down tomorrow. So we're going to continue this discussion. Thank you very much, Mr. Nambiar, as well as Mr. Kumar, for joining us.
Thank you, Sanket.
Thank you very much for joining us.